What is going on, traders? What an absolutely insane day. We gotta talk about it. Before we start, like, subscribe, comment your thoughts below. Let's get into the video. So first things first, we went crazy in the Discord. If you joined the Discord between Friday, not even Friday, Thursday, and this morning, you made an absolute bag with us. We got into Nvidia 115 strike puts. This was on Friday. As you guys can see, Nvidia tanked. We got into SMCI puts. We got into 37 strike puts on Friday as well. As you guys can see, SMCI tanked. We got into SOXX puts, 193 strike this morning. As you guys can see, SOXX tanked. We got into so many plays between Friday and today. Tesla 265 strike puts as well, killed that. I mean, the list keeps going, guys. Snow 170 strike puts. We got into those right before close, about an hour before close. Currently in profit on those. There's plenty of more plays here. I'm not going to go over every single one, but if you joined the Discord between Thursday and today, you joined at a perfect time. Congratulations to everyone who made profit today. We got a few winners here. This guy made 1K off 580 puts on the SPY. These are actually the same day. I didn't even know that. Nice, very nice. All right, Tesla 265 puts. He took profit on these, made a nice little $300 off of that. This guy, he right here, he made $200 off the Tesla play. I think he did his own strike. Yeah, 275 strike. We'll take it. I mean, this guy here, he just literally joined and made $180. I think he made a lot more than that, but we'll see. But this person here made $200 off our Nvidia play, and then made another $590 off our Tesla play. So if you are not in the Discord, you are missing out. And then this guy here, he made some profit off of all our trades today, profit from trades today. So yes, we absolutely destroyed it. But let's talk about it. Discord link is in the description below, by the way. But let's talk about it. I mean, in the last few videos, I was pretty much implying that I believe Friday was a bull trap. And a lot of you are asking, how in the world did you know it was a bull trap, right? I wouldn't say I knew. Okay, I wouldn't say I knew. I'm not gonna, sit there and act like I just know everything when it comes to the market. But there was a lot of, obvious reasons on why it was a bull trap. One, we closed below key levels. What we wanted to see, if you're bullish, what you want to see is a break above those key levels Friday. If bulls were really stepping in, I would imagine that they would want to get us above 595 on the SPY, and they failed to do so on Friday. Now, we did get a little pump this morning, and granted, I wasn't buying it for a second. I let Discord members know that I do not buy this move towards the upside at all, and I still think we're going to see more downside. And I let you guys know in the past few videos, I do not think the bottom is in. So when it comes to levels on the SPY, it's important to note that we did close below the gap fill at around 584. Now, we're seeing a little jump after hours. We're going to take that with a little grain of salt here. But regardless, we closed at 583.97, which is right below this gap fill at around 584. If we manage to get below this gap fill, chances are we're going to see a lot more downside. And I'm looking at 568, 575, 68 as our next target, which I do think we're going to see pretty soon. We also have a bearish engulfing candle here, so it's not looking good for the bulls. I have to admit, I expected Friday to be a bull trap, but this today was pure evil. I mean, I honestly, I'm starting to feel bad for you guys if you got calls today, because this was insane. I figured we'll see downside, but this was Bitcoin. I mean, even Bitcoin, that move was absolutely insane. So hopefully some of you recovered if you were bullish on the market, and hopefully you take your boy serious. I mean, you got to give me a round of applause. You got to give me some flowers in the comments below, because we absolutely predicted that. I mean, insane, right? But when it comes to the SPY, I think our next target is 568. I do think we're going to head that low. I'm not saying it's going to happen tomorrow or anything, but I do think within the next week or so, within this week, next week or so, we are going to see a move further down. So I don't think this drop is over. I think we're far from being done, actually. When it comes to upside, if we're talking about being bullish, you want to see a move back above 590. I think that goes without saying. You want to see a break back towards the upside, which I don't think is going to happen anytime soon. But if that's the case and it does happen, we want to see a break retest, and then we can start heading back towards around 600, 602, 600, somewhere around that range, and then we'll have to see what happens from there. Now that's if we're being bullish, but in regards to downside, if we stay below this gap fill at 584, we're going to head towards 580. We already saw that move towards 580, and then from there you want to see us break below these guys right here at around 579, and then you're going to be looking at a move towards 575. And then eventually you're going to want these guys down here to step in at around 575. These bulls right here, these bulls right here, and then you got a lot of turbulence in this area here. So once we get down here, which I do think is going to happen once again, you definitely want bulls to step in. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for the SPY. Triple Qs. Triple Qs, man. I mean, again, you rejected this supply and demand zone. We talked about this in the last 3 videos where I implied that the market is currently trapping bulls. I do believe that they were trapping bulls, and it was a crazy trap. I mean, this is an insane trap, like really, really, really bad. I talked about this on Discord. I'm like, yo, I figured Friday was a trap, but jeez, this is crazy. But yeah, I mean, it looks like we're going to head further down. At this point, it goes without saying we're probably going to feel this gap at around 492. I mean, I don't see a reason why we just don't feel it at this point. Now, what I will say is that gaps have very strong support and resistance, so we could potentially see some type of bounce from here, but I do think it's going to be short-lived, especially if we stay below 500. We stay below 500, chances are we're going to head further down. Now, where we go from here as far as a break below that 492 gap, we get within the range of these guys, chances are we're going to be heading towards 480. All right, so definitely don't want to see that. I know it sounds crazy, but I mean, given the move we've seen today, does it really sound crazy when you think about it? So yes, we can definitely see a move towards the low 480s on the triple Qs. Am I counting on that? Not yet. I do think we're going to see some type of bounce at 492, but obviously we'll have to wait and see. In regards to upside, all right, upside 503. You saw us have a hard time getting below 503 when before President Trump was speaking, and then once he started speaking, that's when we started to really break below 503. So if we get above 503, then chances are we're heading towards 505. Your key level, your ultimate level, we talk about this all the time, guys. 510. This is another reason why I thought Friday was a bull trap, because we did not close above 510. We closed below 510. Not only that, but we closed below this rising wedge pattern. So if people tell you, there's going to be traders in your trading career that's going to tell you patterns don't work, levels don't work, TA don't work, send them to my channel. I'll prove them wrong every single time. All right, so that's what we're looking at for the triple Qs in Q. So we talked about this. Remember when we talked about what happened in 2018, right? 2018, we were talking about how basically the market was tanking or dropping, and we saw a move towards the 200 MA. I don't have it up right now, but we're pretty close to the 200 MA. I think we pretty much touched it at around 20,300. And so the question is, if we're talking about what happened in 2018, are we going to see a bounce from here and hit the 100 MA before seeing another leg down? Because that's what happened over and over in 2018. So you guys let me know in the comments below. And that's what we talked about in the last video. So 20,300 is your key level here. You break below that, you're heading towards 20K. You got a lot of turbulence in this area, so I do imagine it's going to be pretty tough breaking further down. But I mean, given our president and what he's been saying and the tariff news that's happening tomorrow, it's very much possible that we just, tear through all of this. So we'll see. But 20,300 is your key level when it comes to downside. You got a nice bearish engulfing candle. In regards to upside, you want to see us reclaim 20,700, and then from there, ultimately 21K is your ultimate level. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for the NQ. ES. You're back below 5,900. You're in negative gamma territory once again. Chances are from here, you are going to break below this rising wedge pattern, and you're going to head towards 5,800. Your main level that you're probably going to head towards is 5,700. This is what I talked about in the Discord. I talked about this in other videos as well. It's also important to note that you do have a gap all the way at 5,650. Very interesting. I'm not saying we're going to head there. I don't think we're going to head there anytime soon. It's possible. Lowest I'm looking at right now is 5,700. If we just so happen to break below 5,700, then obviously this will be on the table. So that's what I'm looking at when it comes to the ES. It's not looking good. In regards to upside, you want to see us reclaim 5,900. You reclaim 5,900, you're heading towards 5,950, and then from there you can head towards 5,980. But again, like I said, I thought Friday was a trap because we closed below the supply and demand zone on the ES. We closed below a key level on the SPY. We closed below a key level on triple Qs, and bulls were rejoicing. And I'm just like, we didn't break any key levels, like none at all, for us to be rejoicing like this. So I thought it was pretty interesting, and it turns out we were right on the money. So congratulations. I'm hoping that somebody in the comments made money off of those last few videos, if not off yourself, because you don't necessarily have to depend on me to make money, of course, right? But you do want to use your favorite YouTuber or whoever you follow as some form of confirmation. You don't want to, go by what they say word for word, but you definitely want to use them as some form of confirmation, especially if they're showing some type of consistency when it comes to, I guess, for lack of better wording, predictions. So that's what we're looking at for ES. Bitcoin, I mean, check the last video. Check the last video, guys. I mean, right here, I told you guys we're at the bottom of this weekly supply and demand zone. Not only that, but we're at this trend line right here. We kept rejecting this trend line at around 95K, and I've been saying that until Bitcoin gets above 95K, I think this is a simple retest towards the upside, a simple liquidity grab before we head back towards the downside. I still have a price target of 73K on Bitcoin, so I do think we're going to continue to head further down, especially if we get below 85K. I want not 85K. 85K is obviously your psych level, but 83K is your key level here. If you get below 83K, these guys right here, these bulls in this area, are going to start panicking, and they're going to start stopping out of their position. So definitely want to see that if you're bearish. Definitely don't want to see that if you're bullish. If you're bullish, you want to see Bitcoin get above 95K. That goes without saying. You want to see a break, retest, and then we're heading towards 97K, 99K, and then you want to see another break and retest, and then we can start talking about previous highs, if not all-time highs. But I mean, like I said, this is an evil trap. This was a mean trap. I mean, that news didn't move me at all. That news for Bitcoin and what Donald Trump tweeted didn't move me at all, because he wasn't really saying anything. He was saying something, but there was nothing happening with that news. Like, we already knew that. We already knew that Donald Trump was backing crypto. So until he starts signing executive orders and things like that, it's just like, okay, you're just talking, right? So I think the market is going to move like that until Donald Trump is going to keep saying things without actually executing them. That's what I feel like he's going to do, and the market is going to keep having these violent swings back and forth. It's going to be pretty annoying, and we got the next 4 years with this guy, so it's going to be pretty annoying. So I do want you guys to be careful. Take profit when you can. You're going to do what you want at the end of the day, but yeah, you're going to see a lot of violent swings back and forth between the upside and downside. So that's what I have for Bitcoin. I mean, I think it's going to head towards 73K, especially if it gets back below 83K. So keep an eye on this, especially if we're talking about this being a leading indicator. If it continues further to the downside after hours, then chances are the market is going to do the same within the next day or two. The VIX. All right, the VIX. I mean, every video I tell you guys, institutions are loading up VIX calls. What happens the next few days, if not the next day? The market tanks. And a lot of you be telling me, oh, it's just hedging, it's just this. And every single time, every video, there's not one video where I mentioned that institutions are loading up VIX calls and the market did not tank the next few days. So institutions are loading up. We talked about this in the last video. They're loading up 25 strike calls right on the VIX. But today, right before close, we see institution load up 30 strike calls on the VIX for March 18th. There's a lot of these, guys. There's a lot of orders coming in for the VIX when it comes to 27 strike and 30 strikes. So this is going to be very interesting. So you see the date here, March 3rd, and here's the time at around 3:36 Eastern time, my time. And then VIX, March 18th is the expiration, 30 strike calls, and then they were loaded up at around 23.8. And then you see the quantity, so on and so forth. And then you got the premium. The premium is insane, 2.53 million. The sentiment is bullish. And then you got your exchange / institution, whatever. All right. But yeah, that's what we're looking at when it comes to the VIX. As far as quant data, there's plenty of more of these. I mean, I can just keep going. Hopefully I click on the right ones. But I mean, that one right there with that high of a premium should tell you everything you need to know. Those 25 strike calls that I told you guys about, definitely in the money. I mean, definitely. I mean, you got 27 strike here, 27 strike here. The premium is 300K. So yeah, it looks like we are going to see more downside if we're going to take these seriously. And I keep telling you guys, just like I tell the Discord members, take VIX calls serious. When institutions load up VIX calls, you do not ignore them. You do not assume that they are hedges. You take them very seriously. And so far, we haven't taken one L when it comes to VIX calls. I'm just saying. All right, so let's actually look at the VIX. All right, so let's look at the VIX here because we talked about this in the last video, I believe, where I was pretty much saying that the VIX is pretty illiquid all the way to 25. So it makes sense that we could head towards 25. And if we close above 23, which we didn't, that's fine. Well, we didn't close above 23, but we are still above this key supply and demand zone. The reason why I say 23 is these guys right here. These guys in this area right here. So once we get above 23 on the VIX, you're looking at a move towards 27. Okay, 27. So we can start heading that high. We got a little bit below it, but we are above the supply and demand zone. So we're pretty much in a tight space here. We might just consolidate tomorrow. We'll have to wait and see. But we do have, oh yeah, we do have tariff news. So I did forget about that briefly. But yeah, VIX. Still think it's going to head higher. Highest I'm looking at is just a liquid zone all the way up here at around between 33 and 35. All right. So keep in mind, once again, we go back to quant data. They're loading up 27 calls and 30 strike calls. And the 30 strike calls have an insane premium behind them. So definitely take it serious. If you never took my VIX videos serious before, I hope you start doing it now. All right, so that's what I'm looking at for the VIX. I think we're going to see more upside. Your key level in regards to the VIX is 23. You get about 23, 25, 27, so on and so forth. If we start heading back towards the downside, you just want to see us bounce from 21.5, 21.7, give or take. I know the VIX it moves off volatility, but I'm just giving you guys levels regardless. All right. Microsoft. So I want to talk about Microsoft because I mentioned this before. When Microsoft is below, so historically, and I said this in the Discord, when Microsoft is below all three moving averages, it usually signals a crash, or not a crash, or a correction coming. Either a correction is coming or a crash is coming. And when I say it sits below all three moving averages, it sits below them for a long time. And it's been doing that for a long time. And I said this morning, before the market even started tanking, I put this out in the Discord and I let Discord members know that if Microsoft continues to stay below the three moving averages, we might have a correction coming soon. You don't have to believe me. Discord members can vouch for me, or you can join for yourself and check it out for yourself. But yeah, historically, every time Microsoft gets below all three moving averages, the market tends to correct or crash later. All right, so that's what I got from Microsoft. I think it's just going to continue to head further down. I'm looking at a move towards 360 from here. Obviously, you're going to get little bounces here and there, but ultimately, I think Microsoft is going to see a move towards 360. And obviously, the longer it stays below those three moving averages, the more the market is probably going to tank. All right? Research that yourself. Look it up yourself. Do not take my word for it. All right? Nvidia. I mean, Nvidia, guys. I've been saying it. I think Nvidia is going to head towards the low 100s. I still think it is. Until it gets above 140, you can't tell me anything about this thing being bullish. All right? You just can't. There's no arguing with me. I'm going to stand by what I say. I'm going to stand 10 toes down. I think Nvidia is going to head towards the low 100s. I wouldn't even be surprised it heads lower than that. But 100, between 100 and 105 is what I'm looking at for Nvidia. You got this nice head and shoulders pattern. You got your lower high here, lower high here, lower high here. You got your shoulder here, shoulder here. You're currently below the neckline. You got a nice bearish engulfing candle. I mean, what more could you possibly want? If this thing breaks below 113 and holds, GG's. Start packing your bags. It's over with. The house is on fire. You're about to tell your family that you're a disappointment because you bought calls on this thing. All right? I'm just saying. All right? Now, in regards to upside, when it comes to Nvidia, not that it matters, but in regards to upside, Nvidia, it gets above 125, you're looking at a move towards 127. Ultimately, you want to see this thing reclaim 130, plain and simple. It reclaims 130, then you got some hope you got hope, and you're looking at some type of move towards 133, 135. But again, ultimately, until it gets above 140, I got nothing for you. 140.7 to be exact. That's what I'm looking at for Nvidia. I think it's going to see more downside. You may get a little bounce here and there, but ultimately 100, here we come. All right, Apple. I mean, so Apple's interesting actually. The fact that it's not tanking with the market is kind of weird. I will say that much, especially the amount we're tanking. So I will say this. Apple could be waiting on another bounce, which I do think is very much possible. Apple could be waiting on one more bounce before actually dropping. Or maybe it's just waiting on tariff news tomorrow. I can't say for sure. But the fact that Apple's not really tanking here, I wouldn't say it's concerning. It's just kind of weird. But Apple tends to do its own thing all the time. So maybe it's just waiting on its own personal news. But yeah, Apple below 241. Definitely can see more downside. I'm looking at a move towards the low 230s once again, and then we'll have to see what happens from there because you got a lot of turbulence in this area, a lot of turbulence. All right, so right here, you're probably going to see some type of bounce before Apple continues to head further down. So it's going to take a lot to really break through this area. So I imagine that's why Apple's taking its time. Maybe it's just waiting on some type of news. I think I saw something else as well. Nope, probably didn't. But yeah, Apple making lower highs right here. So you got a high here, and then you got a lower high here so far being formed, and then it just needs to make a lower low, which I do think is going to happen, especially if it stays below 241. So that's what I'm looking at for Apple when it comes to downside. When it comes to upside, 244. It gets above 244. You're looking at a move towards 247. Ultimately, you want to see this thing get above 250. If it gets above 250, guys, you are going to squeeze towards the upside. You're going to squeeze all the way towards like 260, 255, 260, because you're getting above these guys. These guys are going to get stopped out of their position, and then you enter very illiquid territory. So that's what you want to look for when it comes to Apple in regards to upside. Let's look at the semiconductor ETS. We talked about this. I mean, SMH. We made another killing off SMH. We made a killing off SOXX. I mean, you're really missing out, man. I have been on a rampage with this market. Okay, so descending triangle. We talked about this. Like I said, Friday, right? Friday, you closed right below this descending triangle, which is another reason why I felt like Friday was a bull trap. You closed right below this descending triangle, right? Not only that, but you closed below 235. If bulls wanted us to rally towards the upside, they would have broken all these key levels across the board. This is how you know it was a bull trap. Like, I guess I shouldn't say no. Okay, I shouldn't say no because someone's going to get offended by that. But this is how you get an idea on what's a bull trap and what's not. Key levels. You have to respect the levels, guys. You can't ignore these levels and just be like, oh, we got a green candle. We got this one green candle. Oh my God, we're going to the moon. And then just ignore all of these bearish candles. Like, on what planet do you think, without good news, that we're just going to blow past these guys? We haven't gotten any good news. So why would we just blow past these guys? Unless you guys know something I don't. But regardless, it's just we're making lower highs. We're making lower lows. What about this one candle will tell you? And this is just not SMH. This is SPY triple Qs. What about this one candle tells you all-time highs? Here we come. You know, it's we gotta use some type of common sense when it comes to the overall market, right? I know a lot of you don't believe in TA and you think it's just a bunch of crayons and scribbling and all that fun stuff, but I'm here to prove you wrong. Okay, I'm here to prove you wrong. So as long as you stay on this journey with me, you're going to learn a lot. At least I'm going to try my best to make sure that all of you learn a lot, because you can't just see one good candle with some decent volume behind it and be like, yep, all-time highs is coming. All right, so trust me, I'm not a perma bear. The moment I feel like the market is going to rip back towards the upside, you're going to hear it from me first. You're going to hear it, well, Discord members are going to hear it first, but then you're going to hear it from me second. Okay, so that's what I'm here to tell you guys. But in regards to SMH, I went on my little rant there. You got a bearish engulfing candle. You broke back into this descending triangle. You're going to head lower. I'm looking at 220. We already hit 220, but lowest we could be heading is towards the low 200s. All right, right at the bottom of this descending triangle, and then we'll get our third touch, and then we'll see what happens from there. Now, where that puts Nvidia, I can't say for sure, but I imagine it will probably put Nvidia in the low 100s, if anything. So yeah, as long as we stay below this descending triangle or back in this descending triangle, chances are we're going to continue to head lower. In regards to a bounce, there is a good chance you're going to bounce, but I'm looking at a retest of 229, and then you're going to do it all over again. You're just going to head back down. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for SMH. SOXX, we got into 193 puts on SOXX. Absolutely beautiful play. We got in at around 209. Currently trading at around 202 after hours. This thing dropped all the way to about 199. And I warned about this in another video. If SOXX, try saying that fast. SOXX breaks below this rectangle right here. So let's map it out. You're probably looking at a market correction or a crash, if anything. I don't know, but you're looking at one of those. Okay, and so far it's breaking below this rectangle. What do I tell you guys? When SOXX makes a big move to the upside and consolidate, there's massive downside behind it, right? So right here, massive upside, massive downside. Massive upside, you consolidate, downside. Consolidate, upside, upside, downside. Upside, downside. All right, it always does this. Okay, always does this. You get upside, you consolidate, major downside. Okay, you just keep seeing this upside, downside. It always does this, guys. All right, so that's how you pretty much can get a gauge on where SOXX is going to go. Now, the projected move for this rising wedge pattern is around 180. I don't know if SOXX is going to go that low, but you do have a massive supply and demands on all the way towards 180. You also have a few gaps down there as well. You got a gap right here and a gap right here. This gap was actually filled, but the second gap wasn't. So yeah, it's breaking below this rectangle. These bulls right here at around 190, 192 need to step in. Otherwise, it's GG's. I think this thing is going to continue to head further down. It always repeats this pattern. It always does this pattern over and over. When this thing tanks, it tanks hard. Okay, it tanks hard. So you definitely want to keep an eye on SOXX. Your key level here is 199. That goes without saying. You're looking at a move towards 198. And well, actually your key level is 198. I'm sorry, 198.5, 198, give or take. And after that, you're looking at a move towards 192, 190. Okay, so that's what I'm looking at for SOXX. In regards to upside, you want to see this thing, and I mentioned this on Friday as well. This also closed below a key level, 210. Until it gets above 210, got nothing to talk about. 210, then 213. You want to see it get back in above 215 for you to really start being bullish all over again, or start leaning towards the bullish side all over again. And that's what I'm looking at for SOXX. Tesla. I mean, this was, like I said, this was evil. This was absolute. This is an evil bull trap. Absolutely evil bull trap. And you had a bullish engulfing candle here, guys. I mean, but now you just ended up creating a dark cloud cover, which is a bearish pattern. So I told you guys in one video, I don't remember when, I think it was like a few videos ago, where I said institutions are loading up 265 puts on Tesla for this week, expiration this week. We got into that play, currently in profit on that play. We actually took profit on that play, actually. We got in at around 290. Tesla dropped all the way to like 280 or something like that. But I mean, yeah, 277 actually. But I mean, yeah, you've ended up just negating this bullish engulfing candle. You just ended up forming a dark cloud cover. So yeah, you might head towards the low 260s at this point if this dark cloud cover plays out, especially if you stay below 290. But I mean, this is an evil bull trap, and this is why I kept saying 310 is your key level. You want to see Tesla get above 310. All right, if it doesn't get above 310, really hard to be bullish on this thing. But I mean, I thought this was the start of something. I'm gonna be honest, I thought this was the start of something and it turned out it wasn't. So yes, ooh, ouch. That's I said this in the Discord. This is an evil bull trap. Evil bull trap. I felt like it was coming, but man, this is pure evil. So yeah, dark cloud cover, Tesla, chances are it's going to head lower. You're looking at a move below 274. It gets below 274. Chances are you're heading towards the low 260s. And chances are you're going to start filling this gap at around 250. We'll talk about that if we get there. IWM. The Russell, yeah, I think it's going to break. I told you guys in the last video, 205 is my target. I think it's going to head much lower than that at this point. I mean, you got a bearish engulfing candle here, and I do think the Russell is going to head below 200s if it gets below 205. All right, so 205 still my target for the Russell. You got pretty close. You're around 207.5, 207, give or take. But yeah, I definitely think this thing has more room to the downside. Can definitely get below the 200s, considering how this market is right now. We'll have to wait and see. Other than that, I mean, that's all I have, guys. I mean, you got to give your boy his flowers, because 3 videos straight. I gave you guys a video every day this weekend, including Friday, letting you guys know that I do not think the bottom is in. I stood 10 toes down. I didn't take back anything I said. I kept letting you guys know I don't think the bottom is in. I think we're going to see more downside. I think Friday was a bull trap. Here we are. All right, here we are. Discord link is in the description below. You gotta stop missing out. You gotta stop missing out. We absolutely went crazy today. I think I put out like 5-6 trades today. We didn't lose not one trade. Okay, I don't think we lost a trade yet since last week. Have we? I don't think we lost any trades so far for like 2 weeks straight, I think. So we'll see. But other than that, if you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. If you agree with anything I said, or if you disagree with anything I said, let me know in the comments below. Maybe I missed something. All right, maybe this is a bear trap, like a super bear trap, and we just, rally towards the upside from here. All right, but let me know in the comments below. Until the next video, traders.